Hi, today we're going to take a look at kind of a unique tool that you can access for free online. It's a timeline tool. So while there are a variety of different sites that will help you create a timeline, and you'll find that those sites often do it in a different format or in a different way, I want to focus today on the one provided by NightLab because it does so in a unique way. I think it has a nice product, and once you get used to what it is that you have to do, it's a very simple and easy tool to use. Simple and easy tool for your students as well, providing you're a district that's using Google Docs. Okay, to start with, the address is timeline.nightlab.com. That's TIMELINE.KNIGHTLAB.com. When you get to the page, you'll see the header on the top with a couple of options, but as you scroll down, what you're basically going to find is here's an example of one. Here are some tips and tricks that tell you, what you should be doing and what kind of media sources can be included. So you won't just have text. You can add titles and text, but you can also add images, videos, Google Maps, things as you can see here from Twitter, Flickr, Wikipedia, etc. Okay, they do have a list of examples down here. Some are more current than others. And then as you scroll down the page, you'll come to a section that'll explain to you how to actually make the timeline. There's a video here, but I'm going to walk you through the process. Also, if you come up to the help link, which is, you can see that doesn't move, the main menu stays at the top of the page at all times. If you go to the help link, one of the things it will do is it will show you supported media types. So if you were to click on that, you get a complete list of the types of things that you can include in your timeline, including images, online videos, audio files, something I didn't mention, Spotify, a number of things. So you can review this at your leisure to see what it is you'd like to include. Okay. Now, in order to make the timeline, this works a little differently. What you're going to do is you're going to take a template from them, which is a Google Sheet. You're going to save it to your drive, and then basically you're going to share it. Get a link from this website, and any time that someone accesses your timeline, what it's going to do is it's going to look back at your Google Sheet that's stored on your Google Drive and assemble the information from there. So again, that's a little different than the way things normally work, where you're uploading something to a website. But it really works, and once you understand the concept, it's very easy to do. So you're going to come down to section 1. You're going to say get the spreadsheet template. It's going to open that up for you here and force you to make a copy. And there's a copy of your spreadsheet. A warning that you'll be on the site, and something that you absolutely must adhere to: do not change the column headings. It's expecting these things to have particular names, and they must stay that way. Okay, what you can change, however, is the content that are in the various cells under those headings. Right now, it starts this by populating it with some examples so that you can see what you have to do, but you want to change all these. For the first row, which is actually row 2, because remember that heading row can't change, this is going to designate the title or the opening screen of your timeline, so you don't need year, month, date, and time for these things here. Basically, there's a headline and there's text. So if you look back at the video we did previewing this site, you'll see how that looks. Okay, and then for each subsequent line, you simply change this information to what's appropriate. If something something should have a start date, so there should always be at least a year, month, and day included in every entry you have in the first 3 columns. However, if there's no end time, like this is going from 11/1 to 12/15, but if it really only exists on a single day, like a birth date or something like that, you can feel free to leave those blank. Now it's got a headline, so let's just say about me. So this is going to be a presentation about me, and then I'll give it some text. This timeline shows all the major import Okay, so hopefully you would do better than that, but that's what you're including there. Now you can include media. You can see that right now this is getting something from Flickr, and there's a place for media credit and a media caption. So if you wanted to include, say, a picture here, let's just say I'm going to get one straight from the old internet. So I'm just going to do a quick search there. I'm going to go to images, and let's just say here, there's a picture that I want to include. Okay, one thing you can do is you can visit the image. So what you want is not the web page that contains everything, but a link to the actual image. And sometimes this is hard to get. Sometimes, through a Google search, you can do it right here, and that's not a problem. You simply copy it. But sometimes it's going to redirect you to a web page. So if you do have an image, an alternate way to do this is simply to upload it to your Google Drive and set the permissions on it so that everybody has access to it. That's the safest way. And what I would do in that case is I would probably make a folder on my Google Drive for a particular timeline. And then I would set the permissions on that folder that anyone can view the contents of the folder. View, not edit. And then as I put things in that folder, everything would be fine. I would still have to go into that folder and get the address of a particular picture, not of the folder, and to use that in the timeline. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to come into here, and there you go. Now I've pasted it into here, media credit. This is obviously just citing your source. So if this was something I was going to use, I might visit the page. And this is Pexels, Pexels.com. And you can have a media caption. I'm not going to use that right now, but just know that that's available. Then you can change your date. You can say in the year 1920, let's just say 6/1. I'll say that this is a birthday. Or birth date is probably better. Okay, you fill in your information, and you go through that same process that you can add the media, you can add a media credit and a media caption if you want. So let's just very briefly I'll grab another one here. So there's baby, view image. Again, this is not the only way to do it. If you have images, you can upload them to your Google Drive. I think I'll show you that in a second. And I'm just going to use this same picture here so you don't have to watch me do this. And I'll just put and you fill in the rest of your information. High school graduation. Obviously I don't have the correct picture for that. Text. Well, let's try this one. High school years. Because that'll show a good example where we can use more than one date. So let's say it was 1920. So I started high school in 1940, and I started on 9/1. And let's say for some reason it's important that I started at 7 a.m. And I was in high school until 1950, took my time, and I'm in New Jersey, so I was in there till late in June, and it was 3 o'clock when I finished, if I want to do that. Okay, so you can continue to add to these rows as many things as you'd like. We'd like to see at least 6, but you can make a timeline. They recommend not more than 20, although there's no technical barrier that you're going to run into here. It's just simply a matter of, as things get longer, people become less interested. Once you're done with this, you know, I'll just rename this to say my timeline. Now, what they recommend that you do is they recommend that you come in here and you publish this to the web. All that really does when you publish it is it sets the permissions so that anybody can see them. Now, the documentation is going to tell you to copy this link here, but changes in G Suite or in Google Docs is going to make that not work. So what you really want to do is you just want to copy that address from up here. That will be fine. So right in the document itself, you're going to copy that address. You're going to come back to your timeline. It's telling you here to publish to the web and to copy that link, but you're not going to do it. There's been an update, so right here it tells you to go into the address bar and copy it directly from there. Okay, next you're going to put that spreadsheet document in here. So you're going to put that address right in there. There's a couple of settings that you can change here if you wanted. Rather minor. I mean, you can change the font of, there you go, the font combination that's going to be used in the presentation. You can change the language of the presentation. This is telling you if you're using a Google map. I guess at one point you had to pick a particular base map, but they're now all supported, so that's no longer an issue. Default start slide, so we're going to start on slide 0, and you could start in the middle. I don't understand why you would want to do that, but it is a possibility. And then there are some other options here. A zoom level, you can play with this to see how it works. You can always change it after you've done it to get an idea. And then there's some various other, like you could check this and start at the end of your presentation. Again, I don't know why you would want to do that, but there's some other options that you can look at there. Okay, also you could change the height and width. Width is set to 100%, and I think that's adequate. 650 on the height is good because it's going to leave some room down at the bottom for the timeline itself. You'll see that in a minute. Now, once you've done that, it's going to generate for you both this link and this embed code. So if you've worked with embed codes before, you can put this into the HTML of your document, and your timeline will be embedded right into the web page. But for us right now, we're just going to grab the hyperlink, and I'm going to come up here and paste it. Hit enter. So you can see we've got this nice timeline across the bottom. We've got the picture right there. You've got the source, and then you simply can mouse over this and proceed to the next to the next part of the timeline. Okay, you can see the second thing that we added here. See where we added under media credit, and then we added under media caption. So here's the media credit, here's the caption over here. So that's where those things are going. You can embed videos as well. You can see now, because I have high school years here, you can see that on the timeline itself it's showing a span of time, 10 years to complete high school. Here's where the text is going. I didn't put very much text in any location, but that's really not a problem. Let's just say that I come back into my Google Doc. And this is what makes, I think, this site kind of interesting and fun to use, is since it's drawing from this Google document. Come on. I'm going to add some text there. When I come back and refresh this, it's just going to return me back to the beginning of the slideshow. But you can see now that text is right here. It's just looking back at that sheet, and it's grabbing what I need from it. Okay, it's also showing here the time, the information that I put in 3 p.m. So that's a mistake. So what I really should do here is, instead of saying 3, I believe what we're going to do is just change this to 15. That's military time. Come back to my timeline, refresh it. and now it's 3 p.m. So it knows to interpret military time and change it into a standard time form. That's about it. As I said, the only thing I might do for you here is, let me get back to my drive. If you want to include pictures you have on your drive or things you want to upload directly to your drive, what I would do is I would make a folder. I'm going to call that my timeline. Currently, it's really not associated with the current timeline, but I could add photos here and add them to it. And I'm going to say share. And here, if I simply go to advanced and I say anyone public can view only, that will be sufficient to get the job done. Now, I'm going to go into my folder and say I'm going to upload a picture from my computer, something that I've already stored on my computer. It's taking a little longer than I'd like, but it's right there. Those are videos. Must have something laying on the desktop. Let's take a look. Nope. Clean desktop for once. So here we go. Baby picture, save image as. I'm going to put that in right on the desktop where we can find it easily. Baby. We'll do our file upload. There it is. Go to share. See, anyone on a link can find and view. This is already set because the folder was set that way. So now this is the link that I want to use. If I take that and I'm going to, I'll just substitute it here. Okay, so you can see that's associated with my high school years now. You can see the address on the two is different. This one's out on the web. This one is, well, it's also on the web, but it's in my Google Drive. When I refresh this, this is the copy we're getting from the live site. Here's a copy from my Google Drive, and it's actually giving me an extra option here to go into that folder and look at it in a different way. Okay, that's about it. Great tool. As I said, you're welcome to explore other tools and use those, but this is nice and simple, and I think it has certain advantages. So good luck. Let me know if you need anything.